Now we see two wired personal computers connected to each other and to the worldwide internet through a pair of Ethernet ports on the LAN side of a wired residential gateway device. This architecture is commonplace at the time of this publication in 2010 because internet service providers like to give these wired residential gateway devices. With two personal computers connected this way, you have the beginnings of a more sophisticated local area network. Those two PCs would be considered part of a local area network or subnet. They can talk to each other, and each can get out to the worldwide internet. Anytime they make a request to a service on the worldwide internet, that request flows out through the router portion of the wired residential gateway out to the internet, and that router portion knows to expect a reply. When the reply comes from the internet, the router demultiplexes it and sends it back to the originating PC's appropriate process. So this is a very common situation for small households and small businesses that have one or two computers that need to get access to the worldwide internet. The wired residential gateway device, because it has a NAT router, serves as the firewall. Services running on either of these two PCs, for example, game servers, web servers, any kind of server, can run on either or both of these PCs, but in order to be found and used by friends out on the worldwide internet, the router portion of the wired residential gateway device has to be configured through port forwarding. With this kind of architecture, it's entirely possible to configure game servers on one or both of these laptop PCs. They can find one another. A game server on one of these PCs could be easily accessed by a game client on another. This would give the impression that the server is well set up and ready for use on the internet, but that is not yet true. In order for friends out on the internet to find those services, special programming or setup needs to be done on the NAT router section of that wired residential gateway device to configure port forwarding. If that's not done, even though the two PCs that are visible here can access one another and play games, for example, without restriction, their friends out on the internet won't be able to join. You can learn a lot more about the steps involved in setting up a server for use on the internet by going to AskMisterWizard.com into the Networking Fundamentals section. Look in the table of contents under Internet Part 2 and find the title Hosting a Server on the Internet. Hosting a server on the internet. It'll tell you more about what you need to know and give you everything necessary to get started.